The James Gunn situation continues to evolve. Now, of course, they unearthed all those ridiculous, disgusting, idiotic tweets that he put out so many years ago. Then Alan Horn acts just as idiotic, comes out and says, we're severing all business relationships with him. Then the cast puts out their vocal message of support. Then reports come out in the Hollywood Reporter that other studios, including Warner Brothers, are lining up and just getting ready to make James Gunn an offer as soon as his separation negotiations with Disney are complete, and that Disney was going to have to pay him between $7 and $10 million to not work. Nice gig. And now there's a new development. According to reports going around right now, it's not just the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy that are trying to convince Disney to rehire James Gunn. It's Marvel itself. There are reports going around that Marvel is actively participating, that includes Kevin Feige, trying to convince Disney to allow them to rehire James Gunn and to bring him back into the fold. Now, according to the reports, which are all very vague right now, the basic notion is that Disney is trying to offer compromises. I don't know what a compromise means. Does that mean, oh, he won't direct a film for us for the next 2 years, but he can be one of our creative producers and consultants? Does a compromise mean James Gunn says this? Does a compromise mean, I don't know. What does a compromise mean in this situation when you have a sub-company, Marvel, trying to compromise with their owning company, which is Disney? Now, one of the more disturbing things that came out in all of this was that according to every report that I've read, and I can't confirm this independently, I'm just telling you this is every report that I've read, suggests that Kevin Feige found out about James Gunn's firing the same way you and I did, by reading about it in the trades. Apparently, that's how Kevin Feige found out. Now, again, I cannot independently confirm that. That's just what I'm reading, that he found out by reading the headlines that Alan Horn has done this. What complicates this situation, and I've mentioned this the other day, what complicates this situation is the fact that Alan Horn came out completely inadvisably, came out so fast and so quickly without discussing it with everybody else in Disney. He just came out in a knee-jerk reaction and put out this big, bold public statement saying, we are severing all business relationships with James Gunn. He made that public statement. That complicates things. Because now Disney has to save face. Disney has to look like they're not just backtracking. If Alan Horn had just stayed quiet, and they entered into some internal deliberation to try to figure out all this stuff, that would make these negotiations, compromise, whatever, a whole hell of a lot easier. But because he came out, opened his mouth, let out that big statement, it's painted everybody into a corner here. And now they got to be very careful. And now they got to try to figure out a way around this. And look, let's not pretend, including me, let's not pretend that this is an easy situation. This is a difficult situation. This is a tricky situation. And let's not put the blame anywhere else but on James Gunn. This situation wouldn't exist if 8, 9, 10 years ago, James Gunn hadn't been afflicted with idiot moron mouth and made the statements that he made. We all acknowledge this. So it is a tricky situation. Disney finds themselves in a tough spot. They made it worse themselves by Alan Horn making that comment. Marvel finds themselves in a tricky spot. James Gunn clearly finds himself in a tricky spot. It's a tricky situation. So let's not pretend there are easy answers here. However, it is kind of funny that seeing not only is the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy, other actors and directors, the public, and now Marvel itself is lining up behind James Gunn to try to get Disney to reverse the decision. It's going to be interesting to see how all this turns out. What do you guys think is going to happen here? Jump down to the comment section. What do you think? 2 questions. What do you think is going to happen? And what do you think should happen? And those might be 2 very different things. They might be the same thing. They might be very different things. But I'm curious to know, how do you guys see this? Jump into the comment section and let me know your thoughts. All right. With that out of the way,